Let's start the show. You already know who it is. My name is Mike Kyle, aka the Fantasy Vulture. I have over a decade worth of fantasy football experience, and I've continuously competed for fantasy championships over the course of the past 6 seasons. Let's make it 7 in 2020. But enough of me, I'm here for you. On today's episode of the FB Show, we are going to continue our Week 1 game recaps, breaking down every single Week 1 game all through the lens of fantasy football. In this video, we are going to be covering the Chicago Bears versus the Detroit Lions, a game that was actually really fun to watch and really picked up the intensity towards the fourth quarter. So if you are excited for this game recap, be sure to hit that like button down below, like an open receiver downfield, Patrick Mahomes style, and also be sure to smash that subscribe button, power running back style, like Derrick Henry up the middle, so that you never miss a video from me and all my fantasy football content juiciness. But actually, before we even continue, you can also follow me on all social media platforms at FFVulture. That's Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Feel free to shoot me messages on all those platforms, whether it's start sit, trade offers, or waiver wire ads. I will be sure to hit you up as soon as I possibly can for a response. If you're new, though, you guys get to see how we do highlights around here. And if you're subscribed, well, let's just jump right in, right? So, the Chicago Bears versus the Detroit Lions in Detroit. A game that I wasn't really sure how it was going to play out. There were a lot of question marks here, but Adrian Peterson starts us off, man. Welcome to Detroit. A 19-yard run up the middle. AP still got it. But Kenny Golladay was out of this game with that hamstring issue. No worries. Marvin Jones, bam! Hit him with the hit stick, make another move, and pick up the additional yardage. Marvin Jones was a player I was really excited for this week. But second quarter to round out the first half, DeAndre Swift finds his way to the end zone for his first career NFL touchdown. Welcome to the league, rookie. And then to start the third quarter, 10 minutes in, just a little boop pass, boop, boop, boop. TJ Hockenson, 4-yard touchdown. Hawkinson, a player that some people are expecting to break out this season. Remember what I said about Adrian Peterson? Yeah, he still has it. More on him later. Adrian Peterson, a 20-yard rush. Man was just putting on an absolute clinic today. But here come the Bears. Allen Robinson, a 20-yard diving catch. He played all right. We were hoping for a better game from him. But then Jimmy Graham, just post up the cornerback. You're bigger than him. He can't guard you! Jimmy Graham, 4-yard touchdown. And the Bears are starting the comeback. It's 23-13. And then first and goal at the 1. Javon Wims, who? I don't know. He finds his way to the end zone, and all of a sudden, it's a 3-point game. The Bears are storming back. 2 minutes left. All of a sudden, Anthony Miller, this is your year, baby. 26-yard touchdowns, and the Lions have the lead. It's 27-23. Ignore the camera change here. DeAndre Swift has a chance to win it, but he drops it in the end zone with 6 seconds left on the clock. And that is how this game ends. It was an absolutely wild finish. The Bears were just pouring on points in the fourth quarter, and the Lions, for the umpteenth time, had a fourth quarter collapse. It was a really fun game to watch. It started off really slow, a little bit poor. We were all really worried about Mitch Trubisky, but he pulled through in the end and had a few really great throws down the stretch. Let's talk about this game. Let's talk about some players. Let's talk about the fantasy outlooks for each team now going forward. Mitch Trubisky. I think we might have to start calling Mitch Trubisky the Lion King, because he's not the Tiger King, but he's the Lion King, because every time he plays the Lions, he kind of kills them. Like, he destroys them. Mitch Trubisky, 23 fantasy points here. 36 attempts, 20 completions, 42 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 carries for 26 yards. Mitch Trubisky really was a sneaky start this week. I know a few other analysts were talking about starting him. Like, I own Anthony Miller and Allen Robinson across leagues. So there was part of me where I had to stream a quarterback this week, and Mitch kind of was in the back of my head because I understood how well he plays against Detroit, and that trend keeps up here today. Looking at the Chicago backfield here, David Montgomery was limited with that groin injury. He had 13 carries, 64 yards, and caught one pass for 10 yards. Honestly, not a bad game from him, all things considered. There obviously was some speculation that he wasn't even going to play this week. And then Tariq Cohen had 7 carries for 41 yards and only caught 2 balls for 6 yards. Cohen, you would love to see that high PPR upside, but unfortunately that didn't come through here today. The big story here, though, for me personally, is Anthony Miller of the wide receivers in Chicago. He had 6 targets, 4 catches for 76 yards, and that score. That 26-yard bomb was a thing of beauty. Just right in his hands, was able to extend out into the end zone, and not only make the catch, but also just secure it for the touchdown. Anthony Miller is a guy that I almost started this week. If you guys watched the Sunday live stream, I kind of tinkered and I started Henry Ruggs instead, but I made that decision before I even went on stream that I was going to start Ruggs. But I love Anthony Miller this season. I loved him last year, and unfortunately he was battling some injuries, but then when he did come on the field later in the season, he was incredible, and so I was expecting him to kind of take that step forward. Coach Matt Nagy said this training camp that he was the best player in camp, so I was excited for Anthony Miller this season. Allen Robinson had 9 targets, 5 catches for 74 yards. Not the game that you want to see from him. I know I talked about this during my Bears preview this offseason. Allen Robinson finishes outside the top 36. He finished outside the top 36 at wide receiver last season 50% of the time, and it looks like that trend is going to continue this year, and it's just a matter of quarterback play. Like, yes, Mitch played well, but he easily have missed Allen Robinson multiple times this game. We saw Robinson during the highlights. He had to, extend full body in order to make that diving catch. And I, as an Allen Robinson owner here, I'm a bit concerned because he is, depending on how you view Robert Woods and Allen Robinson, like one of them is my number one option, and that doesn't give me a whole lot of comfort. I'd probably argue that Robert Woods is my number one, but even still having Allen Robinson, Allen Robinson, I feel like has a safe floor. But you need that upside, and I don't know what his upside actually looks like on a week in, week out basis, because just the inconsistency at the quarterback position is just going to be an absolute roller coaster and a nightmare to try and figure out this season. Jimmy Graham, just for whatever reason, he's still alive. He's still kicking. He had 7 targets, 3 catches, 25 yards, and a touchdown, and I believe he had another touchdown called back, if I'm not mistaken. So there was the potential for him to have 2 this week, which, if Jimmy Graham's going to be the guy here, and this team does, in a way, lack pass catchers, there might be some tight end value there. If you want to go that deep, like I've said before, the tight end position this year is the deepest I feel like it's ever been, and there are a ton of options that you can have on a week in, week out basis. But now shifting over to Detroit here, Matt Stafford, 42 pass attempts, 24 completions. Not a great game from Stafford, in all honesty. Losing Kenny G before the game starts, that's obviously going to be a real bummer because their receiving core is just kind of meh. Kenny G is such a big part of that. Stafford threw for 297 yards. That's insane. 25 completions and damn near 300 yards on 42 attempts. He could have thrown for 400 yards this game, in all honesty. 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Adrian Peterson, when we're talking about the running backs here, this is the thing that I really want to reiterate, because I was high on Peterson coming into the season in Washington, and the reason why that was the case is because I knew that Adrian Peterson still had it, because I was doing the homework on him. Last season, he almost rushed for 1,000 yards. He was averaging 4.5 yards per carry, and he fell into the end zone, I think it was 6 times last season. And that was for a bad Washington team who was expected to take a step forward this season. So Adrian Peterson, I knew was going to be good. I knew that he still had it. But then when he got cut and then he goes to Detroit, it's one of those things where you kind of have to make a decision. And this backfield really is an absolute nightmare to try and figure out. We're going to talk about everybody else in just a moment. But Peterson comes in, his first game in Detroit, just really learning the offense and learning the playbook and learning what the team does. 14 carries, 93 yards, 3 receptions for 21 yards. He had over 100 yards from scrimmage. He had 110 yards from scrimmage. That is so good. And there's a very good chance that Adrian Peterson is on your waiver wire right now. Am I saying go get him? Not necessarily, but at the same time, like I believe in the talent of Adrian Peterson still. So if you need that spot running back start, he might be the guy for you. I want to talk about Carrion Johnson. Carrion Johnson is dead. I think that's very, very safe to say. Carrion Johnson had 7 carries for 14 yards. Like, really? You're going to let Adrian Peterson, 35-year-old Adrian Peterson, get more work than you? You're 23 years old. You are 23 years old. You can catch the ball out of the backfield, and you're just a really good running back. You've just unfortunately been injured. So, just going off of this, my first hot take for the year is Carrion Johnson is droppable in redraft leagues. In Dynasty, you hold him because he is 23, and he can obviously, get traded or something like that, or find his way to a new team. But Carrion Johnson for redraft appears to be dead. I don't think I want any part of it, especially if Adrian Peterson is going to come in a week before the season and get double the work. With the rookie DeAndre Swift, 3 carries for 8 yards, 3 for 5 receiving. 3 receptions, 5 targets, 15 yards receiving, and a touchdown. That touchdown really is the thing that made his game, because if he didn't have that, he would have busted. Is Adrian Peterson really the running back to own? I'm not willing to go that far and just say and I'm not willing to go that far and say leave DeAndre Swift for dead, just because this is obviously his first NFL game, and I do expect his workload to increase throughout the season. But you do have to be patient with Swift. Moving over to the receiving options here, Damian Mendola, 5 receptions, 7 targets, 81 yards. He had a really good game. He finished in double digits and half point. Marvin Jones, dude, what a lackluster performance from him. With no Kenny G, I thought Marvin Jones was going to be an automatic lights-out play, and he was really anything but. 8 targets, 4 catches, 55 yards, finished with 7.5 half-point PPR points, and that's just really, really sad. Everybody else, Quentin Cephus, the rookie, what school did he go to? Will this tell me? Wisconsin, there we go. Rookie from Wisconsin had 10 targets. Huh? What? So, just a name to keep an eye on in dynasty leagues. He might be a guy that could still be on your waiver wire, that maybe slip through the cracks in your dynasty draft. So he had 10 targets, 3 catches for 43 yards. I mean, just 10 targets in your debut. That's noteworthy, to say the least. And then TJ Hawkinson, 5 targets, 5 receptions, 56 yards, and a touchdown. Hawkinson had a really good game, but he also had a really good game of week 1 last season, and we saw what happened after that. He is 100% healthy now, so that is something to really look forward to. He was obviously battling an ankle issue pretty much all last season, which forced him to have surgery, go on IR, and he really wasn't even fully healthy until just a few weeks ago. Are there any other notes here for this? Off the top of my head, no, I think we covered everything. I got all my takes out. Yeah, I think we're good. All right, then. So, that's going to do it for this Detroit Lions versus Chicago Bears game recap. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. We're trying to do this for every single week 1 game. Link to that playlist will be right up here. You can also follow me on all social media platforms at FFVulture. And remember, people come and go, but fantasy championships are forever. I will see you in the next video.